Good morning. Welcome back to our lecture room. This is now year 2022 and this is our first episode. Itong seller's due diligence in relation to the Anti-Money Laundering Act. Yan po ang paksa natin sa episode na ito. And we are going to divide it into two parts. No? One would be dealing about what is AMLA all about and how it affects the seller in his real estate transaction. And the second episode would be how to prevent, at least minimize your exposure to this anti-money laundering scheme of these unscrupulous buyers. Now, of course, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for future lecture updates. Let us start. Okay, seller's due diligence in relation to the Anti-Money Laundering Act. No? This is defined as the investigation or exercise of care that a seller is normally expected to do before entering into a real estate sales agreement with the buyer. And what I want to focus right now in this first episode is this Anti-Money Laundering Act that was passed by Congress in 2001, Republic Act 9160 or the Anti-Money Laundering Act. Okay, this has gone several amendments. No? Of course, Republic Act 9194, the first amendment, and Republic Act 10167, Republic Act 1365, which all amended and strengthened the Anti-Money Laundering Act. And the latest of which is Republic Act 11521, signed into law on February 8, 2021 by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Ito yung latest law that further strengthened the AMLA. So, nagkaroon ng more na teeth or ngipin itong AMLA. And of course, maraming mga implementing rules promulgated by the AMLC or the AMLAC. No? Ito kasi AMLC, ito yung implementing agency ng Anti-Money Laundering Act. And the latest of which itong AMLC Regulatory Issuance of 2021, which affected many professional individuals kasi included na sila as covered person. Alright, let us proceed. So, ano ba itong money laundering? No? Well, money laundering is a crime whereby the proceeds of an unlawful activity as defined in the AMLA are transacted or attempted to be transacted to make them appear to have originated from a legitimate source. So, may unlawful activity, criminal offense yan siya, tapos money laundering din, criminal offense. So, dalawa. So, yung proceeds ng unlawful activity, gagamitin ngayon ng money launderer to launder it, to make it clean, para magamit niya, and that is a criminal offense. So, yan po ang money laundering. Now, ano po yung mga unlawful activity as defined or included in the Anti-Money Laundering Act, no? Ang dami po sa batas natin, no? And I will just enumerate some, no? Yung kidnap for ransom. Merong kinidnap. So, merong pera. That's a unlawful act. Ngayon, yung pera na yon, ilo-launder niya. That is part of the money laundering. Alright, yung drug trafficking, mga drug lords. Yung insider trading, plunder, qualified theft, swindling, smuggling, etc. Ang dami. Sa swindling lang, yung pyramid scheme, yung mga example nun, yung kapa, tapos they let you purchase some products, then madodoble yung money mo at the end of, let's say, 7 days. And this is a scheme, no, that has been declared as unlawful by the SEC and the authorities at talagang tumakas yung mga nagpasimuno nito. Okay lang yung nasa itaas dahil they were able to get the money, pero yung nasa baba, yun ang kawawa, no? and they've been hunting these people, no? Now, the persons responsible here, they were trying to cover up their tracks, no? Because they have so much money on their hand, and they will now purchase properties, and they will try to launder it to, tatawag niyan, lalabhan nila yung money na hawak nila. Kasi they cannot directly deposit it in the bank, no? Of course, because the bank will freeze it, and because they are naman-hunt sila ngayon, meron silang mga pending criminal cases, no? So they have to launder it, no? They have to become creative. And one of the industries that they are attacking right now is the real estate world. So, ang real estate industry, papasukin nila ngayon. Kasi nga, maganda nga namang bibili sila ng property, tapos patulugin lang nila. Alam naman natin, ang real property, it appreciates. It never depreciates, no? So, magandang naglaland banking yan sila. So, they keep on buying properties, no? These mga bad guys, they buy real properties, and in order that their money will be kept safe, laundered, and therefore becomes, later on, if they sell it, becomes clean money. Okay? Sometimes they just keep it on the real estate. Babayaan lang nila yan. Patulugin lang nila muna. Hanggang maglamig ang panahon. Yan ang mga technique ng mga bad guys, no? Alright. So, these are the things that we have to be careful with, because what if you are selling a real property at ang bumili or ang nakabili is one involved in that unlawful activity, yung predicated crimes mentioned under the Anti-Money Laundering Act, and your property is one of those being used to launder their money that comes from that particular unlawful activity. Okay, so ang EMLC or AMLAC, as I said, is the implementing agency. Now, covered persons or entities under AMLAC are the follows, no? Ang dami po nakalagay sa batas, but I will just enumerate a few. Itong financial institutions like banks, quasi-banks, pawn shops. Number 2, jewelry dealers, casinos, real estate brokers, and developers. And I will focus on 2, itong bank at saka real estate brokers and developers. Why? Because these people are actually required to report covered transactions and suspicious transactions to the AMLAC. Ibig sabihin, they are mandated by law to make reportorial requirements on matters that are classified as covered transactions and suspicious transactions. So ano ba yung mga covered transactions na automatic kailangan ng bank, ng real estate brokers, and real estate developers na mag-report sa AMLAC? Okay. Number 1, itong covered transactions. Sabi ng batas is that a transaction in cash or other equivalent monetary instrument exceeding 500,000 pesos. Imagine that, pag mag-exceed ng 500,000 pesos na deposit sa bank, automatic, the bank will inform AMLAC na may transaction na ganito. Hindi naman sinasabi na illegal ang transaction. Pero parang more than 500,000, inform na kagad si AMLAC. And AMLAC, that database will accept it and receive it, and i-check nila kung meron bang money laundering na nangyayari. Meron na silang authority now to inquire, to investigate, no? Tahimik lang naman, hindi mo alam yan. If everything is okay, then you will not receive any flagging down from the AMLAC, no? Number 2, a transaction with or involving jewelry dealers in precious metals and dealers in precious stones in cash or other equivalent monetary instrument exceeding 1 million pesos. Tapos yung casino cash transactions exceeding 5 million pesos. At ito, a cash transaction with or involving real estate developers or brokers exceeding 7,500,000 pesos or its equivalent in any other currency. So, ito yung covered transaction. So, sa bank at saka involving real estate developers or brokers. Kasi ang paksa nga natin involving or relating to real estate, no? As a seller. So, Those are the covered transactions and these are now the suspicious transactions, sabi ng AMLA. Kapag no underlying legal or trade obligation, purpose, or economic justification is considered a suspicious transaction. And if the client is not properly identified, it is a suspicious transaction. And the amount involved is not commensurate with the business or financial capacity of the client. For example, the client is a farmer earning, let's say, kumikita ng 1 million a month, then suddenly, for the next month, nagde-deposit na ng 50 million kada buwan. Bakit ganun? No? Right? So, something is wrong. The amount involved is not commensurate with his business or financial capacity. Wala namang update sa kanyang financial capacity. Tinanong siya ng bank, bakit na gumanda yata ang business natin? Nag-expand ba? Wala. Ganun pa lang din. See? So, amount involved is not commensurate with the business or financial capability of the client. Or, considering all known circumstances, it may perceive that the client's transaction is structured in order to avoid being the subject of reporting requirements. So, ang gagawin ng kliyente ng bangko is that, let's say, kasi exceeding 500,000 mag-report si bank. So, kung 500,000 pala, hindi na siya ma-report sa bank. So, ang gawin niya, Monday, deposit siya 500,000. Pagka Wednesday, deposit na naman siya ng 500,000. Pagka Friday, 500,000. Next week, Tuesday, 500,000. Tapos, Thursday, another 500,000. Now, ito series of activities na ito becomes suspicious and the bank is required to report that to the Anti-Money Laundering Council. Alright? So, and we have number 5, number 6, number 7, and in all transactions that would somehow pertain to a unlawful activity that is considered a suspicious transaction. Now, these covered entities, the bank and the real estate developer and broker, they are required to report that to the Anti-Money Laundering Council. Take note, I am focusing only on real estate transaction. Alright, so, I'll give you a certain scenario. Here is a drug lord, pangalan niya si Pablo Cobarce, okay? And marami siyang pera, he doesn't know what to do. Benta siya dito ng cocaine left and right, meth, shabu, marijuana, and everything. Hindi niya alam ng gawin. So, what he does is that he needs to launder it. Kailangan niyang malinis ang pera niya. So, he buys expensive cars, he buys jewelries, and he goes into real estate. No? So, marami siyang sasagasain na tao para lang maging malinis ang kanyang pera. And here you are, Mr. Seller, kasama ang property mo na natipuhan niya. So, binili niya ang property mo. And after that, nangyari is, wow, tuwang-tuwa ka. Si Mr. Pablo Cobarce naman is na tuwang-tuwa din yung drug trafficker because later on, he can sell it, all these properties that he bought, and it becomes now a clean money sa mind niya. Okay. So, sa mind niya, it becomes now, from dirty money, now becomes a clean money. Alright. Now, on the part of Mr. Pablo Cobarce, sa kanya, okay, I was able to wash my money by using the real estate industry. Okay, so nagbili nga siya ng lupa, so nalinis niya. Nilang niya alam is that active ang ating Anti-Money Laundering Council in pursuing these money launderers. Not only the money launderers, but these unscrupulous unlawful activities of different people. Different activities, kidnap, ransom, drug trafficking, etc. No? So with that, and it is not only in the Philippines, but it's in the whole world. Countries are cooperating with each other to catch these money launderers. No? Not necessarily yung drug lord or yung kidnappers or yung mga swindlers ang gagawa nito eh. They have these dummy accounts or dummy people, and they have these shell companies, dummy companies. Tapos, they have these trustees, administrators that they appoint, no? And later on, talagang tinututukan niya ng money laundering because these are the peoples na parang nga-work for these bad guys, no? The mga kidnappers, mga drug traffickers. And they are the ones performing the act of washing the money of these unlawful or illegal personalities conducting unlawful activities, no? So, and dito, meron itong kulong provision, no? So, kung trustee ka man, or yung ikaw yung officers nung shell company niya sa corporation niya, and you allow that to happen, and later on, trace to that person, meron pong kulong provision itong itong money laundering under the AMLA. Not only the Philippines, but the entire world is cooperating para sugpuin itong ganitong klaseng problema. Alright? So, now, let us talk about you now, broker. No. Now, let's talk about now you, seller. What will be your problem? We will discuss that in the next episode of our Anti-Money Laundering Act, the seller's due diligence in relation to anti-money laundering. All right? So, I'll see you immediately on the second episode.